Hey, 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 what's up? Secret Nikkor lens. And anybody, I've got lenses, baby. Anybody that rolls their eyes at this lens is a crack-smoking douchebag. I'm just going to say that flat out. There's a reputation behind some things, and people roll their eyes like, oh my god, not that. Well, here is why you're an idiot. And I'm right and you're wrong. Yeah, I said it. Catadioptric lens. Basically like a telescope. Mirrors! Oh my god, mirrors! 500 millimeter f8 Nikkor. This is the last iteration, which by the way focuses down to 5 feet. Why is this lens the absolute tits? There's a lot of reasons why. This is the lens hood, by the way. Let me actually unscrew. It's a little tight on there. There we go. Unscrew the lens hood off of this thing. This is its little container. Comes with a filter set. You may or may not get the filter set with yours. But this lens is the tits. It's a low element count. We're looking at 4 elements. You got a dual set of mirrors here. The light comes into the back. It reflects to the central mirror right here, which actually comes through the rear. Obviously, it's fixed aperture of f8. It's not an issue. Why is this lens the tits? Oh my god, it's like, where do you start? This lens is so much fun. It doesn't weigh anything, by the way. You can go out there and hand-hold birdshot. You know what it's like? Most of you don't know what it's like. The whole like a 300 millimeter 2.8 or a 400 millimeter f4 or even a 300 millimeter f4. I mean, it's still a big honking ass lens. You've got so much out in front of the camera. Okay? Here you don't. Doesn't weigh anything. I can sit there and hand-hold this thing all day long. I can take bird shots on the fly. Anything. Now I do have a fixed aperture, so aperture priority. Crank up the ISO a little bit. It's actually technically not an f8. It's technically like an f6.7, I believe. So it's nowhere near that slow. The catadioptric bokeh, it rubs some people the wrong way, but see some test shots below of what catadioptric or donut bokeh looks like. If you choose the right composition, it's absolutely just flat out gorgeous. People love it. You stick someone with some sparkling water behind them, and you step back. The bokeh is just the balls. It's the tits. But this lens is cheap. You can typically find it for about $300. This is the latest iteration. Like I said, you can focus down to 5 feet, which is ridiculous, by the way, with a magnification rate of 1 to 2.5, with the orange stripe on it that you can see right here. Doesn't weigh anything, relatively cheap, typically about $350. It's kind of rare. They made this all the way up to 2004 or 5, I believe. Here's something else. You stick on this TC14B teleconverter. 2 is too much. Now, you try to stick a 1.4 teleconverter on a 300 millimeter, man, I mean, I don't care if you got muscles like Schwarzenegger, you can't hold that thing, and you damn well can't hold it steady. I can hold this thing steady on my Nikon or on my Fuji. I'm going to make a video right after this about why this is the absolute tits for a mirrorless camera, just the tits for a mirrorless camera. Slap this on here, I got 750 millimeters. Damn! It's really, really, really nice. This is another thing, by the way. People say like, oh my god, I got a spot! I got a spot on the front of my lens! You know, like a fungus spot. I've got so many cheap lenses that have like a fungus spot or some sort of nasty spot on the front element. It's like, that doesn't affect the image. You got spots in the rear. The rear element or fungus, that's an issue. You got them on the front, that's not an... Look how big that spot is. That spot, it's just not a spot. That's the actual central reflective mirror. After it passes a primary, is a secondary mirror, and then back to the elements near the rear, of which there are 3. That's one gigantic 1.25 inch spot right there. You're still not going to see that in the image. It's amazing the way light works. Light bends around corners. In this case, of course, it's being reflected, however, obviously so. But you don't see a big spot when you're taking a picture of a bird in a tree, for example, even though there's oh look, there's a 1.25 inch spot on the front of that lens. Well, I mean, it's a catadioptric lens, but the point being, you know, understanding as far as what's on the front element of your lens, it doesn't really affect that much, believe it or not. That's why I bought some really awesome lenses that have a giant fungus spot. Nobody wants to buy it. And I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'll buy the damn lens because I know it won't affect the image, especially if it's on the front or on the front of the secondary element. But this lens is so much fun, you know, and I actually typically couple it with this. I've got a couple of these TC14B teleconverters. 750 millimeters of handheld, lightweight fun with beautiful catadioptric bokeh. Now, sometimes it's too much. Some people think it's like, well, that's like retro 70. A lot of people, and myself included, you know, will scoff, well, yeah, that's a reflex, that's a mirror lens, you know, it's got a fixed aperture, and, you know, that's, you know, it can't compete with, you know, like a real, you know, 400 millimeter f2 point. You know how much a 400 millimeter, like my lens, 400 millimeter f3.5? I mean, my God, if you were to dare to dangle that off the front of the camera, it'll rip the mount right out of it. Heavy as hell. Don't even think about hand holding it. So you ain't going nowhere without a monopod. You ain't doing crap without a monopod with that lens. Hand hold this all day long. Pictures are beautiful. You can really reach the hell out there, and this lens is more fun than a pervert in a porn shop. Make you happier than a worm in a pile of poo. Now there's an older lens, one prior to this, that doesn't get as close, but who gives a crap about taking shots of 5 feet at 500 millimeters? If you're trying to do that, then I actually think you're an idiot, but the older lens is perfectly fine too. They come up on eBay all the time. These lenses are a lot of fun. And if you got a mirrorless with a Metabones, then these lenses are the tits. They're the tits of fun. I can go out there with my Fuji, and I'll make a video right after this, and I'll take some handheld shots that you can, you can spot the testicle sac on a gnat fly from 200 yards away. I mean, it's rather amazing. Handheld. You try to do that crap at all. You know, handheld with a normal 300 or 400 millimeter. This is 500. Coupled together, I got 750 millimeters. Is the math registering in your brain here? Anyway, the point is, this is cheap thrills. It is a bucket load of fun. And actually, the shots that come out of it are really awesome. And the magical thing is actually, taking some portraiture shots with some water behind somebody, or like some light flickering through the leaves. The catadioptric bokeh, you can either like it or hate it, but you show those shots to people, they love it. They always want a print of that. Kind of like everything is old and new again, kind of like bell bottoms came back in style. Catadioptric bokeh has a look to it. And I think it's actually very, very dreamy. Some people hate it. If you hate it, I don't give a damn. I love it, and a lot of people actually love it. So see the test shots of that below. But this lens is the tits, and I consider this a really must-have lens for several reasons, because when you put this up next to a 400 millimeter, which costs a damn fortune, heavy as hell, and it will just destroy your camera. It'll rip the balls right off of your camera if you let that thing dangle off the front of the mount of your camera. That's why a reflex lens like this. Not a crappy one from China, okay? But a real Nikon one like this, precision made in Japan, is the tits. I love the hell out of it, and I think it's just fun as F. Okay? Thank you for watching, and this has been brought to you by webwelding at gmail.com. No, I'm not sponsored. I just wore a shirt for a buddy that sent me a shirt, and it's pretty neon, that's for sure. Thanks for watching. Bye.